Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or if you're already subscribed, welcome back. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. We've got lots of videos coming up over the winter and a competition around Christmas time, so you're not going to want to miss that. In this video I'm going to be talking you through my winter stick mix. It's packed full of attraction for the cold water months, and so not only it helps with your presentation for laying the rig out on the lake bed and protecting the hook, but also draws the fish into where the hook bait is, hopefully nicking you a bite in the cold weather. Towards the end of the video we're going to be looking at underwater footage of how it presents on the lake bed and how it breaks down, so don't miss that towards the end. And also my way of baiting up when using this stick mix in the winter, which I've not seen anyone do. I'm quite surprised. You know, a little gadget that came out a few years ago that you don't often hear people talk about, but yeah, if you watch till the end you'll see my little trick for baiting up when using a stick mix, and yeah, it's something that's a bit different, so hopefully it fools those more wary carp. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get into the rest of the video, and we're going to be making the stick mix, then we're going to tie some up. I'll show you how I attach it to the rig, and then we're going to look at it underneath the water. Right, so what you're looking at in the bucket here is a mixture of Vitalin, which is a dog food that I've talked about in previous videos. You can get it from your local pet store, and these little pellets that are mixed in there, they're called lamb creek pellets, which you can get from like an animal sort of agricultural feed supplier, and they're a cereal based pellet, and they've got molasses in there and milk proteins as well, and they're fed to lambs to I think help with the weaning process and things like that. But they're very good for the cold water months. They're easy for the fish to digest and also very attractive as well. So that's the sort of base for my stick mix. I'm going to take you into the bait tub now to show you how we put it all together and what else goes into it. So to start off, you're going to want a quarter crusher. I'm sure most people have these in a tackle bag now, and you're going to take some of that Vitalin and pellet mix, put it into your crusher like that, and then give that a good crush, and it comes out sort of a bit broken up, and it just gives a few more coarse particles like that. So we'll do one more of those and into the bait tub. Next you want some Richworth S-Core boilies, and in they go. I'm going to crumb them up the same as we did with the Vitalin. Releases all the goodness that's inside the bait. There you go. It doesn't have to be S-Core. Any bait that you're using you can crumb up, but the S-Core is a really good winter bait because it's milk protein and bird food, so there's no fish meals or anything like that. So yeah, anything that you're using boilie wise you want to crumb up into boilie crumb like that. So I've done about 15 to 20 or so boilies in there, which should be enough stick mix for a 24-hour session, unless you're absolutely tearing the place apart, and then you know you might need to make some more up. So next into there goes a bit of pink Himalayan salt. Do the equivalent to, I don't know, about a quarter of a teaspoon of salt in there. You know, it gives the carp what they want in the winter. There's not a lot of naturally occurring salt in lakes, but they do need it, so this just hopefully pulls them into your hook bait. So now we've got our powdered ingredients in there. We're going to use the stick from my PVA system and just give that a good mix around to get it all mixed together. There we go, that's all nicely mixed in there. Next into there we want some of the Richworth S-Core serum. This isn't supposed to be an advert, just telling you what I use. This stuff is really good. It's an amino acid blend, and it actually is heavier than water, so it leaks into the lake bed and keeps the fish rooting around for longer, and it also stimulates them to feed because of the types of amino acids that are in there. It's actually a feed trigger, which you know, you definitely want in the winter, don't you? So yeah, I've probably put about 2 teaspoons in there, and it just dampens the mix slightly when you mix it in and helps it bind together. And next into there, this is something I've only just started doing, but it seems to be working so far. I've got this maple flavoured agave syrup. Now you could just use normal maple syrup, but that's usually quite expensive. This was only about £1.50, I think. So with the maple flavours, they're really good in the winter, and it seems to go quite well with the S-core, which has a little bit of a hint of that to it, I think. Anyway, so I'm not going to go mad with this because it's really sweet. Obviously, carp likes sweetness, but I think sometimes you can overdo it. So I'm probably just going to put in there around about half a teaspoon just to add a little bit of sweetness, maybe slightly more. There we go, and it helps it be a bit sticky and hold together, and you'll see why later on in the video why I want this to be sticky. But for now, that's it, and there's just one final ingredient that goes in there, which I'll show you right now. Another supermarket ingredient, we've got Horlicks. Now it's quite sweet Horlicks, a lot of sugar content, and also it's made with wheat and other things like that, which a carp find nutritious and attractive, especially in the cold water months. But also it's very sticky, and I think match anglers use it to bind maggots and pellets together and things like that. And I'm using it here partly for its attraction properties, but also for its sticky properties, so we'll get some of that in there. It's probably, again, about 2 teaspoons worth. There we go, and then we'll mix that all around, and it helps just dry the mix off where we've put some liquids into it. You don't want it too wet because it'll sink like a stone to the lake bed. You want it to flutter down slowly and help present your rig. So once you've got to that sort of consistency, you want to leave that for about 30 minutes or so just to soak in all the ingredients, so all the liquids have kind of gone into the pellets that are in there, and the Vitamin and the boilie crumb. So yeah, once you've left that to stand, it's then time to make up some sticks. So for making up your sticks then, you're going to want some sort of funnel web system, such as this one. There's lots of different brands available, and you take it out, so it's like that. It's just like a tube with the mesh on the outside of it, with a knot at the end there just to stop it slipping, and that's sort of that forms one end of your stick. So what we do is we push this against the side of the tub, and we get a small quantity of the stick mix. It's literally, you know, just about 2 centimetres into there. Using your plunger, go in, put your thumb over the end, push that down relatively hard, and you can push it out the end like that. Take off a decent amount of PVA. This is how I do it, makes it a lot easier. So you hold it between your thumb and your forefinger like that. You get 2 fingers, you go around your 2 fingers like that, and then twist, and then once you've got to that point, using your middle finger, you're going to go around the stick and out like that, and then you keep it looped onto that finger, which enables you to pull it down like that, and then you pinch it there and you pull that tight, so you've just got a nice little parcel of food there. And then you're going to repeat the process, but making a knot about 2 centimetres away from your first knot, which gives you that little fuse there for attaching to your rig. So second knot, we just go around one finger, make a loop, put the stick through the loop, and then you're going to hold the PVA roughly where you want your knot. Like I said, about 2 centimeters from the other knot, and that forms the knot for the next stick to tie, and then we just cut that off just there. Now a little trick, well, a little bit of advice here, because that's fairly tightly packed, I like to just loosen it up a little bit like this and make it into more of a bowl shape. That sort of does three things really. The bowl shape helps it fly more smoothly through the air, you know, less chance of it causing the rig to spin and tangle. Loosening it up, it also helps it break down a little bit quicker because it's not so firmly packed together. And in the winter, I think, you know, breakdown time, the quicker you can get it, the better really. And also it lets a bit of air into it, so it's slightly more buoyant. And so if you use a sort of semi-stiff rig material with a balanced bait, the slight buoyancy in this will just help it lay the rig out further away from your lead and on top of any debris or anything, so you're not getting it sinking like a stone into all the leaves and whatever's on the bottom at this time of year. So next up we're going to show you how to attach it to a rig. So I've got my normal half snowman rig here. That's half a pink Escort pop-up. It's pink because I've dyed it pink with some food dye and some serum. Unfortunately Richworth don't do the pink ones anymore, but I'm working on it. So yeah, half a pink pop-up with a 15mm bottom bait, and then my normal tweaked blowback rig there with a ring on the shank and a liner and a couple of bits of putty just to help it sink down. So what we're going to do is take our stick that we've just made, we're going to hook it on through the end of the PVA like that, and then wrap it around the bait and the hair and hook it through again like that, and that just helps to stop the hair tangling. So I'll show you what that looks like on the bottom now, and also how I can use this stick mix to bait up and fire out little parcels so we can bring the fish into the swim without feeding them too much in the cold water. Right, so for baiting up with this stick mix, I've got a little gadget here which you may or may not have seen before. It's called a Nash ball maker. This is the 20mm size, but they do a 30 and a 40 I believe now. But this is a good size, you know, for the winter. It's just 20mm, very small amount of bait, and there's no sort of solid food in there to fill the fish up, just a nice little parcel. So what you do is you take the two bits apart, and then in the wider part, the sort of bigger part, if you like, this one, you scoop up a little bit of your stick mix like that. You don't want too much, just enough to go to the top but without it being tight in there. And then you push this other bit into it, squeeze it down nice and firmly like that, and then using these buttons here you can push it out, and there you go, a perfectly formed little ball of stick mix which you can then fire out with a catapult around your hook bait, you know, and that perfectly matches your stick mix that's around your bait, and then it breaks down like this on the bottom and leaves just a little morsel like that with lots of attraction but not very much food. And then if you fire out, you know, a handful of reboilies as well, just to kind of give the fish the odd boilie to pick up, they come in and it's quite a natural baiting situation. You know, your hook bait doesn't stand out too much, and you can hopefully get a bite without feeding them too much. Hopefully it can put some fish on the bank for you this winter.